ग्रेट गुड मॉर्निंग ऑफिसर्स। मैं सुमित कुमार से आप तमाम यूपीएससी एस्पेरेंट्स या अन्य कोई कम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशन की तैयारी कर रहे विद्यार्थियों का इस मगध पुत्र ड्रीम आईएएस यूट्यूब चैनल में अभिनंदन करता हूँ। माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, आज इस वीडियो में हम लोग यूपीएससी सिविल सेवा परीक्षा 2021 का ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट देखेंगे, एनिमल हस्बेंड्री एंड वेटनरी साइंस, बोथ पेपर 1 और पेपर 2। एनिमल हस्बेंड्री एंड वेटनरी साइंस, ठीक है जी। हम लोग इस सिलेबस को बस रीड करने जा रहे हैं। इस सिलेबस में हम लोग एज ए फर्स्ट ग्लेंस देखेंगे कि सिलेबस के अंदर क्या क्या है और यूपीएससी सिविल सेवा परीक्षा का जो 2021 का जो नोटिफिकेशन निकला है उसमें सिलेबस में क्या क्या परिवर्तन किए गए हैं या नहीं, या फिर कह सकते हैं कि पहली नज़र में कि सिलेबस के अंतर्गत आता क्या क्या चीज़ है और उससे फिर कह सकते हैं कि हम लोग अपनी प्रिपरेशन को आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं। तो अगर अपनी प्रिपरेशन या फिर अगर कोई भी हम चीज़ों की तैयारी करना चाहते हैं या फिर कोई भी हम भवन का निर्माण करते हैं तो सबसे पहले पिलर और फाउंडेशन की तैयारी की जाती है। तो स्वाभाविक है वह पिलर क्या है, वह पिलर है सिलेबस, जिसके आधार पर हम अपनी तैयारी की भवन का निर्माण कर सकते हैं। तो हम लोग देखेंगे एनिमल हस्बेंड्री एंड वेटनरी साइंस का डिटेल्ड सिलेबस। बस हम यहाँ रीड करने जा रहे हैं, कोई विश्लेषण नहीं करेंगे, कोई एनालिसिस नहीं करेंगे, बस पहली नज़र में यह जानेंगे कि सिलेबस के अंतर्गत क्या क्या चीज़ है। तो एनिमल हस्बेंड्री एंड वेटनरी साइंस पेपर 1 पढ़ेंगे पहले, फिर आगे पेपर 2 पढ़ेंगे, ठीक है जी। पहला पॉइंट में है एनिमल न्यूट्रिशन, ठीक है जी। पार्टीशनिंग ऑफ फूड एनर्जी विद इन द एनिमल, डायरेक्ट एंड इनडायरेक्ट calorimetry, carbon nitrogen balance and comparative slaughter methods, system for expressing energy value of food in ruminants, pig and poultry, energy requirements for maintenance, growth and pregnancy, lactations, egg, oil and meat production। 1.2 में है लेटेस्ट एडवांसेस इन प्रोटीन न्यूट्रिशन, energy, protein and interrelationship, evaluation of protein quality, use of NPN compounds in ruminant diets, protein requirement for maintenance, growth, pregnancy, lactations and egg, wool and meat production। Now 1.3 major and trace minerals, their sources, physiological functions and deficiency symptoms, toxic minerals, mineral interactions, role of fat soluble and water soluble vitamins in the body, their sources and deficiency symptoms। Now 1.4 feed additives, methane inhibitors, probiotic enzymes and antibiotics, hormones, oligosaccharides, antioxidants, emulsifiers, mold inhibitors, buffers, etc. Use and abuse of growth promoters like hormones and antibiotic latest concepts। Now 1.5 conservation of fodder, storage of feed and feed ingredients, recent advances in feed technology, feed processing, anti-nutritional and toxic factors present in livestock feeds, feed analysis and quality control, digestibility trials, direct and indirect and indicated methods, predicting feed intake in grazing animals, ठीक है जी। अब देखेंगे 1.6 एडवांसेस इन रूमिनेंट्स न्यूट्रिशन, न्यूट्रिएंट रिक्वायरमेंट्स, बैलेंस्ड राशंस, feeding of calves, pregnant, work animals and breeding bulls, strategies for feeding milk animals during different stages of lactation cycle, effect of feeding on milk consumptions, feeding of goat and milk production, feeding of sheep for meat and wool production। 1.7 में है स्वाइन न्यूट्रिशंस, न्यूट्रिएंट रिक्वायरमेंट, क्रीप एंड स्टार्टर, ग्रोवर एंड फिनिशर्स rations, feeding of pig for lean meat production, low cost ration for swine। poultry nutrition, special features of poultry nutrition, nutrient requirements for meat and egg production, formulation of rations for different classes of lower and boilers। Now point 2 animal physiology, physiology of blood and its circulation, respiration and excretions, endocrine glands and health and disease, blood constituents 2.2 properties and functions, blood cell formulation, hemoglobin synthesis and chemistry, plasma protein production, classification and properties, coagulation of blood, hemorrhagic disorder, and anticoagulants, blood group, blood volume, plasma expanders, buffer system in blood, biochemical test and their significance in disease diagnosis. Now 2.3 circulation, physiology of heart, cardiac cycle, heart sounds, heartbeats, electrocardiograms, work and efficiency of hearts, effects of ions on heart functions, metabolism of cardiac muscles, nervous and chemical regulation of heart, effect of temperature and stress on heart, blood pressure and hypertension, osmotic regulations, arterial plus vasomotor regulations of circulation is shock, coronary and pulmonary circulation, blood-brain barriers, cerebrospinal fluid circulation in word. आगे इसमें है respiration 2.4 में mechanism of respiration, transport and exchange of gases, neural control of respiration, chemoreceptors, hypoxia respirations in blood, excretion, structure and function of the kidney, formation of urine, methods of stirring, renal function, renal regulation of acid base balance, physiological constituents of urine, renal failure, passive venous congestion, urinary secretions in chicken, sweat glands and their functions, biochemical test for urinary dysfunctions. 2.6 endocrine glands, functional disorder, their symptoms and diagnosis, synthesis of hormones, mechanism and control of secretion, hormonal receptors, classification and functions. 2.7 growth and animal production, prenatal and postnatal growth, maturations, growth curves, measures of growth functions affecting growth, conformation, body compositions, meat quality. Now 2.8 physiology of milk production, reproduction and digestion, current status of hormonal control and memory development, milk secretions and milk ejections, male and female reproductive organs, their component and functions, digestive organs and their functions. Now 2.9 environmental physiology, physiological relations and their regulations, mechanism of adaptation, environmental factors and regulatory mechanisms involved in animal behavior, climatology, various parameters and their importance, animal ecology, physiology of behavior, effect of stress on health and production. Now 0.3 animal reproduction, semen quality preservation and artificial inseminations, component of semen, composition of spermatozoa, chemical and physical properties of ejaculated semen and factor affecting semen in vivo and vitro, factor affecting semen production and quality preservations, composition of diluent sperm concentration, transport of diluted semen, deep freezing techniques in cow, sheep and goat, swine and poultry, detection of oestrus and time of insemination for better conception, and no stress and repeat breeding. Now 4 livestock production and management, commercial dairy farming, comparison of dairy farming in India with advanced countries, dairy under mixed farming as a specialized farming, economic dairy farming is starting of a dairy farm, capital and land requirement, organization of the dairy farm, opportunities in dairy farming, factors determining the efficiency of dairy animals, herd recording, budgeting cost of milk production, pricing policy, personal management and developing practical and economic rations for dairy cattle, supply of grain throughout the year, feed and fodder requirements of dairy farm, feeding regimes for young stock and bulls, heifers and breeding animals, new trend in feeding young and adult stock feeding records. Now 4.2 commercial meat, egg and oil production, development of practical and economic ration for sheep, goat and pig, rabbits and poultry, supply of green fodder and feeding regimes. Now for young and mature stock, new trend in enhancing production and management, capital and land requirement and social economic concept. Now 4.3 feeding and management of animal under drought, flood and other natural calamities. Now point number 5 genetic and animal breeding, history of animal genetic, mitosis and meiosis, Mendelian inheritance, deviation to Mendelian genetic expression of genes, linkages and crossover, sex determination, sex influenced and sex limited characters, blood groups and polymorphism, chromosome aberration, cytoplasmic inheritance, gene and its structure, DNA as a genetic material, genetic code and protein synthesis, recombinant DNA technology, mutation, type of mutation, method for detecting mutation and mutation rate, and transgenesis. Now 5.2, population genetic applied to animal breeding, quantitative versus qualitative traits, Hardy Van Werd's law, population versus individual, gene and genotypic frequency, forces changing gene frequency, random drift and small population, theory of path coefficient, inbreeding methods of estimating inbreeding coefficient, system of inbreeding, effective population size, breeding value, estimation of breeding value, dominance and epitatic deviation, parcelling of variation, genotype X environment correlation and genotype X environment interaction, role of multiple measurement, resemblance between relatives. Now 5.3, breeding systems, breeding of livestock and poultry, heritability, repeatability and genetic and phenotypic correlation, their methods of estimation and precisions of estimates, aid to selection and their relative merits, individuals, pedigree, family and within family selection, pregnancy testing, method of selection, construction of selection in disease and their uses, comparative evaluation of genetic gains through various selection methods, indirect selection and correlated response in breeding, outbreeding and upgrading, crossbreeding and synthesis of breeding, crossing of inbreed lines and commercial production, selection for general and specific, combining ability breeding for threshold character, sire index. Now point number 6, extension, basic philosophy, objective concept and principle of extensions, different method and adapted to educate farmer under rural conditions, generation of technology, its transfer and feedback, problems and constraint in transfer of technology, animal husbandry programs for rural development. तो ये हम लोगों ने देखा पेपर 1 का सिलेबस, पेपर 1 का ओवरऑल सिलेबस। अब हम लोग आगे देखेंगे पेपर 2 का सिलेबस, ठीक है जी। देखिए आगे बढ़ते हैं, पेपर 2 यहां से प्रारंभ होता है। पॉइंट नंबर 1, एंटोनॉमी एंड फार्माकोलॉजी एंड हाइजीन, ठीक है जी। 1.1, histology and histological techniques, paraffins embedding techniques of tissue processing and HE staining, freezing, microtomy, microscopy, wide field microscope and electron microscope, cryptology, structure of cell and organelles and inclusion and cell division, cell types, tissues and their classification, embryonic and adult tissue, comparative histology of organ, vascular, nervous, digestive and respiratory, musculoskeletal and urogenital system, endocrine glands, integuments, sense organs. Now 1.2, embryology, embryology of vertebrates with special reference to aves and domestic mammals, gametogenesis and fertilization, germs, layers, fertile membranes and placentations, type of placenta in domestic mammals and tetralogy, twins and twinning, organogenesis, germs layer, radiates, endodermal, mesodermal and ectodermal derivatives. Now 1.3, bovine anatomy, regional anatomy, parasinesis of OX, surface anatomy of salivary glands, regional anatomy of infraorbital and maxillary, mandibuloalveolar, mental and coronal nerve block, regional anatomy and paravertebral nerves, pudendal nerves, median ulnar and radial nerve, vestibular and fibular and digital nervous, cranial nerves structure involved in epidural anesthesias, superficial lymph nodes, surface anatomy of visceral organs of thoracic, abdominal and pelvic cavities, comparatives, features of locomotor apparatus and their applications in the bioeconomics of mammalian body. Now 1.4 anatomy of fall, musculoskeletal system, functional anatomy in relation to respiration and flying, digestion and egg production. Now 1.5 pharmacology and therapeutics drugs, cellular level of pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics, drugs acting on fluid and electrolyte balance, drug acting on the autonomic nervous system, moderate concept of anesthesias and de-associative anesthetics, autoquoids, antimicrobials and principles of chemotherapy in microbial infections, use of hormones in therapeutics, chemotherapy and parasites infections, drug and economic concern in edible tissues of animals, chemotherapy of neoplastic disease and toxicity due to insecticides, plants, metal and non-metal, zootoxins and mycotoxins. Now 1.6 veterinary hygiene with reference to water, air and habitations, assessment of pollution of water, air and soil, importance of climate in animal health, effect of environment on animal function and performance relationship between industrialization and animal agriculture, animal housing requirements for specific categories of domestic animal with pregnant cows and sow milking cows, boiler words, strain and productivity in relation to animal habitations. Now point number 2, animal diseases. 2.1 etiology, epidemiology, pathogenesis, symptoms, post-mortem lesions, diagnosis and control of infection disease of cattle, sheep and goat, horses, pig and poultry. 2.2 etiology, epidemiology, symptoms, diagnosis, treatment of production disease of cattle, horse, pig and poultry. 2.3 deficiency diseases of domestic animals and birds. 2.4 diagnosis and treatment of non-specific conditions like emaciations, bloat, diarrhea, indignations, dehydrations, stroke and poisoning. 2.5 diagnosis and treatment of neurological disorder. 2.6 principles and methods of immunizations of animal against specific diseases, herd immunity, disease-free zones, zero disease concept, chemoprophylaxis. 2.7 anesthesias, local, regional and general, pre-anesthetic medications, symptoms and surgical interference in fractures and dislocations, hernia, choking and elbow muscles displacement, Caricians operations, remonotomy and castrations. 2.8 disease investigations techniques, material for laboratory investigations, establishment animal health center, disease free zones. Now point 3 veterinary public health. 3.1 zoonosis, classification, definition, role of animal and bird in prevalence and transmission of zoonotic diseases, occupational zoonotic diseases. 3.2 epidemiology, principles, definition, epidemiological terms, application, epidemiological measures in the study of disease and disease control, epidemiological features of air, water and foodborne infections, OIE regulations, WTO sanitary and photosanitary measures. Now 3.3 veterinary jurisprudence, rules and regulations for improvement of animal quality and preventions of animal diseases, state and central rules for prevention of animal and animal product borne disease, SPNCA, veterinary legal cases, certificates, material and methods of collection of samples for veterinary legal investigations. Now 4 point milk and milk product technology, market milk. 4.1 market milk, quality testing and grading of raw milk, processing, packaging and storing, distribution, marketing, defects and their control, preparation of the following milks: pasteurized, standardized, tone, double tone, sterilized, homogenized, reconstituted, recombined and flavored milk, preparation of cultured milk, cultures and their management, yogurt, dahi, lassi and srikhand, preparation of flavored and sterilized milk, legal standards, sanitations, a requirement for clean and safe milk and for the milk plant equipments. Now 4.2 milk product technology. Selection of raw materials, processing, storing and distribution and marketing milk product such as cream, butter, ghee, khoa, chana, cheese, condensed, evaporated dried milk and baby food, ice cream, kulfi, whey product, whey product, buttermilk, lactose and caseins. Testing, grading, judging milk product, BIS and egg mark certification, specifications, legal standards, quality control, nutritive properties, packaging, processing and operational control, costing of dairy product. Now point number 5, meat hygiene and technology. Meat hygiene, anti-mortem care and management of food animals, stunning, slaughter and dressing operations, abattoir requirement and designs, meat inspections, procedures and judgment of carcass meat cuts, grading of carcass meat cuts, duties and functions of veterinarians in wholesome meat production. Now 5.1.2 hygienic method of handling production of meat, spoilage of meat and control measures post slaughter, physiochemical changes in meat and factors that influence them, quality improvement method, alterations of meat and detection, regulatory provisions in the meat trade and industry. 5.2 meat technology. 5.2.1 physical and chemical characteristics of meat, meat emulsions, methods of preservations of meat, curing, canning and irradiations, packaging of meat and meat product, processing and formulation. 5.3 byproduct, slaughtered house byproduct and their utilization, edible and inedible product, social and economic implications of the proper utilization of slaughterhouse byproduct, organ product for food and pharmaceuticals. Now 5.4 poultry product technology, chemicals, compositions and nutritive value of poultry meat, pre-slaughter care and management, slaughtering techniques, inspections, preservations of poultry meat and product, legal and BIS standards, structure, composition and nutritive values of egg, microbial spoilage, preservations and maintenance, marketing of poultry meat, egg and products. 5.5 rabbit for animal farming, rabbit meat production, disposal and utilization of fur and wool and recycling of waste byproduct and grading of wool. तो आज हम लोगों ने पेपर 1 एज वेल एज पेपर 2 का डिटेल्ड सिलेबस हम लोग ऑलरेडी देख चुके हैं और वह जो है ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट जो हमारा था वह है एनिमल हस्बेंड्री एंड वेटनरी साइंस। तो एनिमल हस्बेंड्री एंड वेटनरी साइंस जो यूपीएससी सिविल सेवा मुख्य परीक्षा का जो ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट के रूप में इसे लेना चाहते हैं, तो एट ए ग्लेंस हम लोगों ने देखा कि आखिर इस सिलेबस में है क्या, इसके अंतर्वस्तु क्या क्या है, क्या क्या कंटेंट थे, जो हम लोगों ने एट ए ग्लेंस पहली नज़र में सारा का सारा डिटेल सिलेबस बोथ पेपर 1 और पेपर 2 हम लोगों ने देखा। अगर ये वीडियो आपको अच्छा लगा हो तो आप हमारे चैनल को लाइक शेयर और सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हैं। मैं ऐसी आपसे अपेक्षा करता हूँ और अगर कोई क्वेरीज हो तो कमेंट बॉक्स में ज़रूर पूछें। सो थैंक यू, हैव अ ग्रेट डे।